I didn't want to have kids at first, and I'll tell y'all why. This story is gonna be so crazy, but I gotta take you all the way back. All right. So I was 16 years old and I was at Southwest High School. And they had this program at Southwest, it was called the Upward Bound program, whatever the case may be. Well, they take in the summertime they take you on field trips and you get to meet all the different type of people from high school, different other high schools and stuff like that. So I'm gonna tie all this into why I didn't want to have kids at first based off this experience, right? So let me rewind you back a minute. All right, my mother, best woman I know in my life, right? My mother she was so free and allowed me to be so me. That's why I was able to do the things that I done and experience the things that I did. Like I remember my uncle came to our house one day, right? And he was an uncle who I looked up to, Uncle CP. He already know what I'm talking about. He came to our house one day and this nigga showed up with a tongue ring in his mouth. So I'm like, that tongue ring. I thought that meant some other than some out of the LMNOP community or what they call LGBT community, whatever. But that's what I thought that meant. But like not understanding, like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? In these times and stuff changes. So he showed up to the house with a tongue ring and he had a dice in it, right? So I'm like, oh man, this is somebody who I looked up to. And one thing about me, when I grew up in life, he was one of my male figures who I looked up to. And he came from the streets. Like anybody know Uncle CP, you know what I'm saying? C Pound, they know who I'm talking about. They know his rep, they know his everything. So he showed up to the house with a tongue ring, and nigga, I don't know, I got inspired because I'm like, okay, if my Uncle CP doing it, and I know know how he operates in the street, then I need to do it. So he inspired me to get a tongue ring, right? And so I was too young to get one on my own, so my mama allowed me to get a tongue ring at that time. So I'm like, oh man, I got the tongue ring, man. I'm trying to be like my Uncle CP, man, and boy, it finna go down. I'm talking about instantly. Soon as I got that tongue ring, man, the cat rate went up. I just say that to say the least. So, but fast forward on back to when we get to this little upward bound school trip, whatever the case may be. So we get on there and me and my partner Gennaro, you know what I'm saying, we chopping it up and stuff like that. So when I got on the bus, you know what I'm saying, and me, I'm trying to show it off because back then I was such a show off that I'm like, man, I'm finna show this thing off. I ain't tripping. So I get up there, go to flicking and stuff like that. So it caught this one particular girl eye, and I'm not gonna say her name, even though she's not my friend on Facebook. I can just just tell the story like I want to tell it, but Gennaro know what I'm talking about, right? So she done told him like, hey, who the little guy with the waves and stuff with the tongue ring and stuff like that. So he was like, oh man, that thing, that my boy, my brother Ball, man, you know what I'm saying? I can introduce you to him if you want to. So, he introduced us to each other. So I'm like, okay, cool, bet. So, me, I still, I know how to talk to girls and stuff, and I got this little arsenal in my weapon, you know what I'm saying, in my backpack. So we get to chopping it up, and I'm talking about as soon as we started talking, we were stuck to each other like glue. I'm talking about like, man, it was crazy. Like the whole bus ride, the whole trip. I like that they took us to a museum or somewhere, but I don't even remember the details of the museum because like I was still stuck on her and she was still stuck on me. So even after the little trip or whatever was over with, right? We still stayed in contact. And about still staying in contact. We had the phone now. We used to call and talk all night and have those little late night conversations. And then, by the grace of God, my mama allowed me to get my first car. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, man, it was a little beat up little Ford Escort. It's a beat up little Ford Escort. But back then, like you wouldn't picky because like you were willing to accept everything that you had got, and she had got us a little escort and helped us out. So I'm riding back and forth there to go see her. Now, mind you, we never did anything at that time. She was a virgin, even though I wasn't a virgin. I kind of knew what I was doing, but I really didn't know what I was doing still. So, but at the same time, like I met her mom, I met her dad, I met her brother, and they was what I'm saying, everybody was welcoming, right? So we carried on this situation for about like a few months, and I know it was kind of like going toward the back half of school, and I'm not gonna say that she failed school because of me, but all the thing I know is that she had to go to summer school at Southwest, and because like back then every year they rotated where you went to summer school at if you failed. I'm not gonna say she failed because of me to come see me, but all I know is that she failed and she had she had ended up going to Southwest. And now at the time, my brother, who 10 months apart from me, Freddie G, everybody know Freddie G. So he was going to Southwest too, for summer school. So they was going together. Like I say, I'm not gonna say she failed because of me, but only thing I know is that they was in summer school together. So every day when he come home from school, he's to bring her home with him from school, and then from there I would take her, to the east side where she stayed at. So this became like a habit, and the more she came home from school, the more we would experiment and do little stuff and little trying to figure out the little anatomy of each other and stuff like that. And so one day we finally figured it out. We finally figured out what the anatomy was, and then, everything was okay. So I'm thinking like, after the day we figured out what the anatomy was, what I'm saying? Like we was straight. But then a week came later, she was like, I'm late, right? I'm like, what, y'all still, he take you to school? So what you mean you late? Like I'm clueless. What I'm saying? She like, I've been late and stuff ain't going right. So I'm just sitting here like boggled, like, man, how you late? What I'm saying? I thought I used protection a couple times, but the first time I didn't, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm like, hey, you late. So I'm all at work, right? I'm confused. I'm like, hey man, I'm asking people that it don't even matter who they was at work. It could be a man, a woman. I'm asking anybody who I worked with at the time, like, man, look, hey, what that mean when a girl say she late? Like I'm clueless. Like she's saying it, she was like, well, she could. I'm like, I did this and I did that, and she was like, I remember, and what really messed me up was this lady named Val at Our Country Club. She was like, well, she could be late for multiple reasons. And I'm like, I did such and such. And she was like, well, it's a thing that count for pre-com. I'm like, pre-com? What's that? She like, well, this when you ejaculate before it's time, whatever. I'm like, so I'm confused, right? So all right, we go through the whole we, we go through the whole thing. She was like, not, mind you, she's a virgin. You know what I'm saying? So she didn't know how her body gonna react to this stuff. So her cycle had got knocked off, not me knowing, what I'm saying? Because I didn't know myself. I didn't know what was going on, right? So she was like, I'm late and stuff like that. So automatically off the rip, boy, she got to assume like, well, what if I'm pregnant? I'm like, well, and me being a 16-year-old at the time, I'm like, well, if you're pregnant, we'll figure out what's going on, and we'll try to get it right and stuff like that. So she was like, okay, or whatever. So like as the days grew and grew and grew, the cycle just didn't pop up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more like confused than anything because I don't know how this stuff works. I don't know how the female anatomy work, right? So I don't put it in my head like, oh man, but I probably don't got to be pregnant. I'm finna be because my mother, she was a teenage, she was a teenage mother, and this kind of like around the same time that she had me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh man, I repeat the cycle, man. I'm finna be a teenage dad and stuff like the girl done had me all messed up, right? So she must have told her mom about stuff that was going on with her body, or I don't know if her mom knows what the case may be. But soon as she told her mom, like now I wasn't privy to that conversation, right? Obviously, her mom must have called my mom and they got to talking. But how it fell down here to me, I'm at work at Our Country Club, right? North Macon, right? So they called me from work. They called me from work. My mama called me from work, matter of fact. She was like, Bo, you need to get home right now. You don't got this girl pregnant. Now, mind you, I'm 16, just 16 years old. Like, at my job, I done told my supervisor, like, man, I don't care what you got to do to me, man. I need to go home. I never forget. It was raining, right? So I was so nervous and scared. I was so nervous and scared riding home. Right? I remember the car just sliding in the rain. The car just sliding in the rain. So I got to the house, right? So I pull up in the house. I walk in, and my mom at this time she had like a section of 3 sectionals, and I never forget like. The girl, her mom, and my mom was sitting in one part of the sexual, and I was sitting on the other side, like I was sitting in the lonely side, like that. And I'm sitting here like they giving me a code, like, well, y'all kids and y'all shouldn't, protect yourselves, such, right there. And I'm sitting on the other side, I'm like, oh, y'all just gonna blame me, like y'all like I'm the one that just went to summer school and try to get everything whatever she was trying to get. So I'm like, okay then, all right. I'm just sitting here talking. So my mom had went about this pregnancy test, right? So my mom showed the pregnancy test, right? So now, mind you, I'm sitting on one side of the sofa, all them women over there, her mama, my mama, they just looking at me like it's my fault, right? So the girl was like, and if I have a baby, you gonna take care of it, you gonna marry me, you gonna this and you gonna that. So I'm just like I told you, I'm 16 years old. I'm sitting here looking like, oh man, I don't know what the hell this is right here. So, my mom was like, okay, all right, well, enough of that. Let's go find out, you know what I'm saying, if you're pregnant or not. So my mother and the girl, they went to the bathroom to go check. Now, so it's just me and her mom sitting across from me, and she like, well, my daughter this, and she had plans for that, and they did it like making me feel like I'm just the total bad person in the situation, right? So I'm sitting here like, oh man, like God dang, I don't messed up. I gotta marry this girl. I'm willing to accept everything that she told me that I need to accept at that time, right? So my mama came out the bathroom with her. So so when my mama came out the bathroom and she walked across the hall, walked across back in the living room, mama, she kind of had her head dropped and stuff like that. I'm like now like right now my heart is just went to the bottom of the floor. And my mama looked up, she was like, well, she's not pregnant. I said, I said, like I ain't trying to be funny, man, but like the Maury shows when the people be dancing, a lot of that stuff be scripted. But I didn't do all the dancing. Like I was dancing in my head. So the girl walked out there, and she ain't had nothing to say, and her mom. Now, mind you, now they don't put me all in this mix right here. So I'm like, oh, okay. In my mind, I'm like, okay, all right, you said it. So I knew right then and there, like, oh yeah, nah, this finna be over with us. I'm like, soon as the coast is clear, oh, you about to get dumped. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, well, y'all gotta protect yourself, we know. And now they want to butter me up, like, oh, because you're a good man, you work hard, you're a good kid, you got a good background and stuff like that. But in the back of my mind, like, oh, nah, it's over with. Oh, I ain't having no kids. Like, oh, so this how y'all try to flip and change on a man when they have kids? Oh, no, Sirski. But I ain't tell her that. I just knew, like, oh, okay, you said all this and that. Oh, for sure. And so so I, at that time when I was like 16, I was thinking that like women change so much after you had kids. Now, granted, they do change, but like to demand certain things on a man just because he took your virginity at the same time, they was like y'all allowed that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Ain't like I was forcing you. Ain't like I was coming to your house and proposing those things. Like you was trying to get closer to me, and just so happened one thing led to another. And I felt like at a point in time when I was that young that women women change when they have kids. Or I think that what I'm saying, a man's supposed to be a certain way, what I'm saying, after they have kids. That's what kept me from having kids from the longest of time. So I had the experience when I was like 16. I didn't have my first child till I was 22. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of stopped me from it. But I just thought that was interesting, another interesting story to say. All right.